Welcome to another edition of Success Talk. This is Dr. Herbert Harris, and today we have an incredible guest. Now, we always bring you guests who've accomplished a lot, who face challenges, who've overcome those challenges, and who have made breakthroughs. So today we have Sunniej Jackson. I now want to call it Sunniej or Sunny. Which do you
It's Sunny.
prefer?
It's
Sunny
Sunny
Jackson.
J. Sunny J.
Sunny J. You know,
Mhm.
that that's like in New York, there was a very popular DJ named Rocky G, and what was the other guy named Tony J. So, Sunny J, welcome, Sunny J, to Success Talk.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I have heard so much about you from the bishop and others in the area, and just thankful that you could be here because you have just such a broad spectrum of accomplishments that we'll be here all day if we try to cover them all. But Sonny, tell us a little about your background. Where you from? Where'd you grow up?
Okay, I am a Philly girl, so I'm from Philadelphia, born and bred, and moved to Florida after I was grown. So I will always say I'm a Philly girl, first and foremost, because that's, my foundation. I am the baby girl of five, and my mom was a nurse. My dad worked for the city of Philadelphia. And they all believed in education, so it was very important for us to be educated. My brother was an engineer. He just retired from Honeywell. My other brother was a banker. My other sister was a nurse, like my mom. And I guess my mom never thought that nursing was something for me, so she never mentioned that.
Really? Okay.
Never, never, never.
Hmm.
So actually, I started as a paralegal. So I went to school for, paralegal, and that's when I entered the corporate world.
Wow, as a
Yeah.
paralegal.
Hmm.
Well, I studied that too. As a matter of fact, before I became an attorney, I was a paralegal. Yes, yes, in my uncle's office.
Yeah.
I did
I
not
should
know
have
that.
continued. I should have continued to be a lawyer. 'Cause I think that was a calling for me, but I guess God had other plans. But I learned as being a paralegal, I never wanted to work with a lawyer again unless I was a lawyer.
I got you. Yes, yes, yes. I can understand that. So now that's like a tangential thing. So that took you into corporate America?
I went into corporate America. I have a really diverse background. I went into banking for a good while, and then I went into the nonprofit world for a good while, and then I went into working for a manufacturing company up in the Washington State area. I've got a really crazy background. I really, really do. I don't know
Yeah.
how they necessarily connect the dots, but what they did is I was allowed to work with being right hand person to a lot of business owners. So
Mm,
I got to do some very unique things, like when I worked for SeaWorld, I
mm,
was the right hand to the general curator who is over all of the animal departments.
okay.
So, I got to pet a manatee and a leatherback turtle and see quote unquote Shamu being born another number of times. And, a lot of really interesting experiences that I've had over, all these years working with so many different types of companies.
Yeah. Sonny, I love to hear that because often I'll talk with young people and I get a sense that they don't understand the value of working with somebody who's doing something important. They'll be so concerned about how much am I getting paid, and I've been working here 3 months and I haven't gotten a raise yet. But it seems that going that route really gave you some good contacts, some good experience. Yeah.
It truly did. It truly, truly did. When I worked with the manufacturing company in Washington State, they made T-shirts, and the
Mm,
T-shirts they made, they did mass market T-shirts. So they designed like your Daffy Ducks and all that kind of stuff that you see in Walmarts and Kmart's at that time. They designed them. They had designers right there that drew the things. I worked with the owner and was her right hand. And I also did the marketing side where I sent the designs off to be approved. That was a new thing for me. I didn't
yeah.
had no idea. So, you learn a lot and you use those lessons along the way.
Yeah. And all of that seems to prepare you for the next step, would you think?
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, how did you move from that into television production and hosting and being the superstar?
You know, well, I guess I've always been one that liked to organize and initiate all the way through high school. I mean, I was our class president. You know, I was always putting groups together to create events and things like that. So I always believed in organizing things, right? So how I actually got into TV was really a fluke. I met a gentleman that I believe was truly a performer. I met him at a shop and he did a full performance. I mean, spins, hands in the air, full volume. And I said to him, all you need to do is we need to package this and put a bow on it. And
Mm.
from that point on, I became his manager. So I said, what are we going to do that is going to let you stand out, right? We've got to introduce you to the world. So I said, let's do a TV show. Now, I had never in my life done a TV show, but I said there was a gentleman that I had met that had a hip hop show on at that time. And I'm like, I'm one of those people, if you can do it, I can do it, right? So I said, let's do a TV show and you'll be the recurring act and we'll get acts from all across the country, all kinds of entertainers. So it won't be just your kind of music because he did funk. I said, we can have rap, we can have opera, we can have country, we can have some of it. And we had some of everything on this show. And that's how I got into TV production.
Wow. Wow. Now, that's a good rate. You sort of learn it as you're going along, but then pulling all the stuff that you had learned in the past to make it work for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, there were skills definitely I had to learn, but he was really, really good as far as being creative, and we both had very creative minds, and he was really good at pulling people in. He was a good talker, so we had acts flying in from all across the country, and we weren't. It wasn't like we were known, but we were able to market what we were doing well enough, and
Yeah.
be able to do it. And what was unique about our show to this day is we did not have them send any. I mean, they would send their pictures and stuff if they had them, whatever, but they did not have to interview to be filmed. All they had to do was pay their fee and show up. And the day
Mm.
that they showed up, we filmed them in front of everybody else. We actually interviewed them. I was the host of the show, so I interviewed them on the stage. And we do quick. I'd say to them when they got to the stage, I said, okay, this is what I'm going to ask you. Your name, where you're from, what you're going to do, and is there anything else you want the world to know? You ready? They say,
Mhm.
yeah. I turn around, let's go. And
Wow.
I'd ask them and we'd film them. Now, if they started off bad, we would stop it and then start it again,
Yeah.
but very few times we had to do that. So
Yeah.
we were able to get our shows filmed very, very quickly.
Wow. That's interesting. I worked for Reverend Ike, and we would film six shows on a Sunday. And he
Hmm.
did a half hour format.
Right.
And it was just as you were saying, like here, because here it is, I mean, people didn't rehearse their testimonials, and we'd flow with it,
That's
and
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, that's incredible. Well, that really gave you an opportunity to be a host, to be a producer, and to be all those things. So when you look at something like that, what advice would you give to somebody who has an idea but who may feel that they don't have all the qualifications or the degrees, those kind of things to just go on and do it?
I think the key piece is you have to have the passion. You
Mm-hmm.
have to know this is what you really want to do, and you can't listen to anybody else. And you just got to put the pieces in place. And what you don't know, you learn, and or you find somebody else that knows it. What I found that I didn't know how to edit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I found that no one understood my project like I understood my project.
Mm-hmm.
It was my baby. And one time, what happened was we had someone that was editing
Mm-hmm.
and we weren't finished. And we set a date to come back and finish the show. So the day that we're supposed to come back and finish the show, they said, oh, I got to get my taxes done. And I think the show is good enough. Well, now I was upset because how can
Mm-hmm.
you say the show is good enough and your name isn't on it? My name
Right.
on it.
Right.
So from that point on, I said, you know what? I'll edit them myself. So I taught myself to edit. And ever since then, everything I've ever done, I do my own editing because I know I'm going to put the time in that it takes till I'm satisfied.
Wow.
And so that, yeah.
So you really have to trust your judgment,
You
you know,
do.
and
You really
believe
do.
in yourself. Yeah.
And willing to put in the time and the effort. Because one of the things also I learned, and this is something someone said to me, and it's always stuck in my head. And they said, a professional is only a person that read one more book than you. And I
Mm.
said, hmm. So I've always believed, and the thing is, when we were filming, we filmed one season at the Comedy Improv when it was downtown. And when we filmed, and this is before I started doing my own editing. Matter of fact, no, this might be this is when I had started doing my own editing. But what I never did is I trusted the person on the camera, right? So,
Yeah.
and I don't do that anymore. And I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
you why.
Hmm.
This person, being a professional, filmed an entire episode with a big piece of trash on a step that all the models had to come down. Now I
Wow.
didn't, so we found it out during a break and we moved it. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
it's in my entire footage. So
Yes.
being the editor, I had to work around getting that piece of trash out of everything. And I tell people you have to give the editor something to work with. Make it easy. Give them good, clean footage. Don't film the ceiling. Don't
Yes.
film the floor. If
Yes.
you just got to get a clean shot, that's it, right?
Yes.
But I
Yes.
didn't look at behind the camera. And now, and I kind of, some people get upset at me, but I always
Yes.
look at every shot. Say, hold up,
Uh-huh.
let me look and see the shot. Make sure the shot is clean
Yes.
because it's my shot,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And so you have to be able to take in that you have to be in control of every aspect. Don't leave it up to somebody. It's not their baby. If it's your baby, you got to make sure you see the shot. You got to make sure your lighting's good. You got to make sure your sound is good because at the end of the day, you are the one that's going to have that project. It's your baby.
Wow. See, and that's the kind of stuff that you wouldn't know that unless you've been through it. You
Oh
know,
boy.
yeah, people go to school and they learn how to do this and they take a course in that. But when you've been in it, and so you say, aha, this is why I do that. This is why I'm going to always see the shot. You can't edit, the editor, I guess, is like a suit. You can fix it, you can clean it, you can press it, but it's still the suit. You have to have good stuff to work with. Yeah.
Absolutely. And people get upset with me
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
because of that. But I've been in this game too long,
Yeah.
and I actually had a person, I think they stopped working with me because he was the camera person that I had worked with for a little bit. And I asked him because, I do my own show, Sunny J Live, which is an
Hmm.
interview show. And we were filming a show and I said, how's the shot? Is it clean? He said, yeah, it's clean. And I said, someone said, just take a look. And I looked and he had all this other stuff from this other chair in there. He said, well, that stuff shouldn't be there. I'm like, well, then that's something you should say. Like,
Yeah.
this stuff needs to be moved. You just told me
Yeah.
the shop was clean.
Yeah. 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 Well, that's when you're a producer, when you're a creator, you really have to take responsibility for each and every aspect of it.
You
And
do.
you can't leave it up to people just because they have the title, they have the profession.
Hmm.
As you say, your name is on it. Yeah.
And you spent your money too. So not only
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but you spent
Yeah.
your money,
Yeah.
So yeah, it is so important to take
Yeah.
accountability of
Yeah.
every aspect, for yourself, and you
Yeah.
learn as you go, Some things you forget and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't never forget that again. I gotta
Yeah.
make sure I do that, right?
Now, as a woman, did you ever experience pushback? A lot of times, you're in an area probably a male dominated area. A lot of men. Do you ever get pushback because you're a lady?
You know, if I do, I don't know about it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I see myself, I'm equal to everybody else, and I
Uh-huh.
don't care what they've done. I can respect, what they've done and accomplished, and I do all of that, but I also respect who I am.
Yes.
So I don't see myself as, per se as I guess because one thing is that, I have a great smile. And
Yes.
so
Yes. Yes.
but no, I'm just teasing. But I like people. I
Uh-huh.
genuinely like people. And I'm one of those people, I want to get to know you. And
Mm.
and I ask questions and that so that you want to get to know me.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it has worked I think my personality has definitely worked in my favor as far as opening doors for me.
Yes.
Um, and so no, I've never felt like I got pushed back. No.
Wow. And then, you have, I think, that kind of personality too. When you come in the room, there's some people, they walk in and they give a certain vibration and people may resist it. When you walk in with authority, and I can tell you walk in with authority, that it's like, let me just pay attention to what this lady is saying. Wow.
And then I do believe that when I tell people all the time, you got to be intentional, right? And I know
Yes.
you believe in that. You got to
Yes.
be intentional. So when I go to an event, I go with intention. Like, okay, what do I want to accomplish? And then I find out who do I need to meet in the room. And then I
Mm.
go up there and say something funny like, "Hey, I think I should know you. So who
Yeah.
are you?"
Yes. Right. Right. Right.
And
Now
then they
that's,
start
yeah.
talking.
And you know what? Nobody can resist that. Okay. Especially being a beautiful, an attractive, intelligent lady. Anybody's going to talk to you. Yeah. At work.
Right, and everybody likes laughter, right?
Yes.
And so I tell you, I wind up having this international security team. I mean, that worked for like kings and queens,
Yes.
actually work an event for me. And only reason that happened was I was at a networking event and they all had on these suits with these emblems on them, right? So I quietly walked over to them. I said, listen, you're not looking for me, are you? Because
Uh-huh.
if you are, we can leave quietly. And they
Yes.
all laughed. And so we developed a friendship, and they said,
Uh-huh.
"If you ever need anything, let us know." And they wind up one of the hotels required us to have a bonded security team, which we'd never ever had any kind of incident at any of our event. But
Uh-huh.
because they required that, I called my buddy. I called him up and I told him
Uh-huh.
what I needed, and he said, "Yeah, I'll get two people out there and I'll send our information over to there." Didn't charge me a dime. That
Wow. Yeah. 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 That's beautiful. But that's one of those things, you have a lot of human currency and you might say personality currency. And I think people have to realize that's just as valuable. That's probably more valuable than money.
Absolutely,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. But I think that you have to too be willing to take advantage of opportunities and look
Uh-huh.
at big picture. So
Yeah.
even though I have my own production company, I'm working with another production company that is their lane is reality TV, right?
Okay.
So I met this the executive producer at a studio
Hmm.
and she does plays and she said, "Oh, I'd love to have you in my play sometime." I sure love to do a play with you, right?
Yeah.
Lost contact, and then met her at an event that I was hosting, right? Well, co-hosting
Yeah.
a different show. Just so happened, and this is what I say: you got to be a professional and be serious about what you do, right? So just so happened, halfway through the show, I literally walked off the stage and hit the floor on the
Wow.
side, not from the front, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the side, right? Hit the floor. I hurt my arm really bad, right? So I continued the show. I held the microphone in the other hand, and I kept that arm still, right? So the executive producer of a real life productions, who I had lost contact, walks in. She's there. She never saw me fall. We have a conversation. We exchange numbers, and she said, "I'd love for you to work with me on this play, with this conference, blah blah blah." Um, Found out I actually broke my wrist. I broke my wrist.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
anyway, I met her, and from there on, we have developed a wonderful friendship. And I'm working with her on her projects that big picture still exposes my projects and who I am.
Wow. Yeah.
So, you got to take
Yeah.
advantage of opportunity. But that's professionalism, right? Because you
Yeah.
kept going. But I'm going to tell you one thing, and that also taught me. We were doing a show one time, and this is true professionalism. This young lady, well, this is two different ones, but this young lady always got um, stage fright when she went on, right?
Mm.
So she's singing with a group. She turned around, actually vomited, turned right back around, did not miss a beat. And I'm like, did she just do that? Oh,
Mm.
now that's a professional.
See,
But it
and
was
she,
so quick. Nobody else, if you
yeah.
were in the audience, you
Yeah.
didn't catch it. It was
Yeah.
my show. So I
Yeah.
saw it from the side. I was like,
Yeah.
wow,
Wow. Now that's a professional.
that's
Yeah.
a professional.
Mm.
And I tell people that all the time. Yeah, you gotta be in control of your game.
Now, do you have any? Well, one, I can tell you value relationships because relationships are like human capital. Do you have any particular method to keep up, you know, s- to to maintain your relationships with many people in the industry, even personal friends?
You know, to be truthful with you, I'm really bad at that.
Mm, mm,
But I think I that because of the time that we spend together, that foundation is laid. If I don't see you in 20 years, it's like
yeah,
I saw you yesterday. Like, oh my God, Sunny, where you been?
yeah.
And I think that's the key piece, that they know it's a true relationship, a true friendship,
Hmm.
that was developed, at during that time. So I'm pretty bad because I get so busy in other projects that, you really dealing with all those people in that project.
Hmm.
And so I'm not really the best at that, to be truthful. I said I gotta
Mm,
get better.
yeah. Well, okay. Well, that's a good answer because, yeah, me too. Yeah. I look back at people that I've met over the years, and I spent some time with the fellow who does, what's it? That's Entertainment, one of those entertainment programs.
Uh-huh.
And, he gave me his number and all of that, and I never called. As a matter of fact, I was interviewing a corporate fellow,
Mhm.
and he was saying that he said that many times he said, whenever somebody gives you their number, call them and make them remember you. I
Yes,
said,
absolutely.
okay,
Well, you know what I
yeah,
usually do?
uh-huh,
I send them a picture of me, of the last time when they met me, and I said, "Hi, I'm just saying hi, just in case you didn't remember me.
uh-huh. Now
Here's my,"
that's a good,
and I put the
yeah,
picture in there.
yeah. Now
Yeah,
that's a good, yeah. So that
yeah,
way, total identification. See, now
absolutely.
I learned that. Yeah,
So I'm
I'm a
trying to do
thought.
better with that.
Well,
After I
I'm a,
go to big events and things, I
yeah,
try to, everybody's number, send them a quick text and just say it was a pleasure meeting with you, meeting you, looking forward to working with you sometime in the future,
yeah,
and my picture. And then, usually they follow up as well. And we might lose touch, but they know what I do. I know what they do. So come a time that it's like, you know what? You could, I'm working on this project. You might really this could be something that interests you or
yeah.
whatever.
Right. Wow. That's a good learning point. I got that. I'm gonna work with that. Yeah, yeah. Well, you pick up stuff all along. I was at a meeting last week, and you know how they have the facilitated meetings and they have the flip charts and they put the papers on the wall after everybody's, met and discussed.
Right.
And the lady was getting ready to make notes and, summarize it. So somebody said, why don't you just take a picture of each one of the charts and send the charts? Like, man, that's a good idea. Yeah, your summary might not be right. This I can read it for myself. Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. Well, like you said, I mean, you gotta always be looking to learn.
yes. Looking to
You can
learn.
learn something from anybody. If you
Hmm.
really listen to what they have to say, you can learn
Yeah,
something, and then you
yeah,
put it in like, yeah, I'm gonna use that. That's a good idea. You
yeah,
know?
yeah. Sonny, have you ever really wanted to meet somebody like really, really famous and had to go to some extraordinary uh like a friend of mine wanted to meet Oprah, and he knew that she walked her dog at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh
And
wow.
so he waited outside the hotel all night until that 6 o'clock in the morning when she walked her dog. And I guess her security figured it was okay for her to go walk the dog. Have you ever had a
Wow.
situation like that? Somebody you really wanted to meet and had to do something interesting to meet them?
No, actually, I
Uh,
haven't.
uh,
I've been fortunate. You know, I don't know if there's anybody I feel like anybody I need to meet, those doors will open at the right
mm,
time.
okay.
And the one person that I say I would like to meet is, and this might seem crazy,
Uh-huh.
Robert Rodriguez. And the reason why I want to meet Robert Rodriguez, the film producer,
Uh-huh.
is his book, Rebel Without a Crew. It
Uh-huh.
to me was one of the most inspirational books for somebody that wants to be in the film industry. And it's a quick read, it's funny. Um, and I tell people I tell people, I said, one of these days, and I actually have the book. I said, one of these days he's going to sign this book for me because
Mm,
we're going to be in the same place.
uh-huh.
And I see myself getting an award, and I'm going to say Robert Rodriguez is the one that inspired me. And if you're in the audience, here's the book, and I need you to sign it for me.
Wow. And you know what, Sonny? That's gonna happen. That's gonna you just spoke that into existence. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Now, as you look back, were there any particular challenges that you felt, one or two challenges that, almost like those Goliath type moments when you got a big challenge that happened and how did you overcome it? Yeah.
Woo! Wow. You said 1 or 2. Okay. Okay, okay. Well, I'll tell you one. It's funny. It was a huge challenge, but a huge lesson and
Uh-huh.
a huge opportunity. And some people might think it was like a highlight in my life. So, filming the show, we actually got the opportunity to take the show to a new European network. Now, remember, this is my first time ever doing a show, right?
Mhm.
We'd been doing the show for probably, I don't know, maybe a couple years airing it locally.
Mhm.
Got a chance to take it to a new satellite that was being launched in Europe prime time. They needed the shows cut down. So that was an obstacle. Like you got to cut them all down to, I don't know, like 20 something minutes in order to have commercial space for them, right? That's where we're going to get our money from. And they needed it in a week if you want this prime time slot. I need 40 episodes cut down in
Wow.
a week.
Uh-huh.
So I will say this. I lived off of 5 hour energy and I got it done.
Mm.
I got it done. I lived off it, but I got it done and I got it to them. Now, the obstacle, that was a small obstacle because I could
Mhm.
control that one. The other obstacle was they actually launched the satellite. It had a crack, so it kind of threw our whole contract off. But
Mm.
I'm gonna tell you what happened from that. The people that were launching this were all attorneys, and they
Uh-huh.
happened to be the law firm that was representing Chris Brown and Rihanna. That had just ended. That whole
Uh-huh.
thing had just ended, right?
Uh-huh.
And so one of the attorneys was two of them that were actually launching this new network, right? So they actually saw something negative that someone had put in out somewhere in social media about one of our filmings that they weren't happy about, right? One of the participants. And you know how people scour. So someone in their, network saw this and said, "Oh, well, you need to talk to them because we
Uh,
can't have anything negative, right?" So they called me up and like, "Oh, you have to have that taken down, blah, 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 blah." So we found out who it was. We did that. But what she said to me, and I will never forget this as long as I live. She
mhm.
said, "Let me tell you something. You just have a show. I have a network." I was like, "But you have nothing without shows. You out here
Mhm.
looking for content for all these independents,
Uh-huh.
but you have a network." I will never forget that as long as I live. Now I have a
Mhm.
network,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
don't have that same attitude because it's the
Right.
content that makes your network.
Right. Right.
So yeah, but and then with that, that obstacle, we wind up, like I said, that contract went bad. But I'm gonna tell you a lesson that I learned, and this is for anybody. If you have something that's working, because we were on Central Florida, had been on
Uh,
for years, had a big following, right?
yeah.
We took it off the air to put it on in this European station, thinking we'd come back with those stats and do better. And then the contract went bad. So I would tell anybody, if you got something that's working, keep doing what works. Make that an addition, not a subtraction. So
Woo!
I would have never taken my show off the air.
Yeah.
Never. And
Yeah.
and from that I learned that lesson that I would never, never, never do stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I tell people that all the time.
Yeah. Now that's a powerful learning point, because, and it's funny when if you have something that's working and you pull it off the air, it's almost impossible to get that original traction back. I don't
It
know
is.
why, but I've never seen anybody really get that traction back. Yeah.
Well,
That's a,
and we lost,
yeah.
and the thing is, we lost a lot. We lost a lot of zest between us because it
Yeah.
was like the disappointment from that,
Yeah.
where we thought the launch was coming from.
Yeah.
So we actually, believe it or not, at that point decided that we were going to stop doing shows.
Wow.
So that was really a turning point.
Yeah. Yeah. So what made you go on and break through and go in and do it?
I'm gonna say God for sure.
Mhm.
Um, Believe it or not, that was like 20 years ago.
Mhm.
20 years ago. But all the contacts and people that I met through the networking that we did and whatever, I'm running across those same people now, and they're like, "Wow, I haven't seen you forever," because I kind of got out of that circle.
Mhm.
And but what led me back to it is I started working with Bishop Carroll.
Mhm.
He is actually my bishop. So I started going to their church,
Mhm.
and they have Life Vision TV. They
Mhm.
started that, and I started
Yeah.
working with them, and promoting their network. And I had a clothing store, Sunny's Closet.
Mhm.
And they said we should do a TV show called Sunny's Closet. I said, okay. So we started a show called Sunny's Closet on their network, and you can still find it on on Life Vision now. Every now I think they play it late night.
Uh-huh.
Um, but it kind of got me back into the love of production.
Okay.
And then from there, someone I met said, we should start a network because, Bishop Carroll's is mostly religious,
Uh-huh.
a lot of ministers and stuff. He said, we should start a network. So we did. We started a network, and that was right before COVID hit. So
Oh,
it kind of
yeah.
slowed us down.
Mm-hmm.
But that leads us to the other obstacle. COVID was one, but the other one is you have to when you join in with people on their ideas, you have to 100% believe in the idea yourself.
Mm.
Whether they fail, whether they leave, you have to make that commitment. You're going to make it work.
Yes.
So coming into the network, one of my partners made it seem like he had everything under control and I basically didn't have to do anything but make an investment. Well, that
Uh-huh.
didn't quite turn out to be that way.
Right.
So I made the decision I was going to have to hit the ground running.
Uh-huh.
And that's where we started really working hard on creating content. And then actually went a step further and added some additional channels because I do believe in it, added some new channels.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we came up with the idea to do a TV series, which is the one we're running now, Rain.
Uh-huh.
We actually, a group of us, me and two friends, were having a birthday celebration. I said, I'm thinking about doing a series. And the other one, who is a Hollywood actress, said, well, what about, that everybody's doing these powerful families and things like that. I said, let me think about it. So I came up with Rain. I said, you know what? Let's film next Sunday.
Okay.
and and then we started. So you take
Wow.
an obstacle and you got to turn it around. Like they say, you
Mm.
take lemons and make lemonade. Sometimes you might have to
Yeah.
make apple cider, but make something.
Make some apple cider. Yeah. But you just turn obstacles into opportunities.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. There's so many lessons there that people need to know very often. And I think the one that you said that I'm really taking to heart because things happened. I had a client who had a book that a self-published book was doing
Mhm.
well. He didn't know it was doing well.
Oh,
His expectations. He thought that he was going to be a millionaire by the end of the year. You know, and so he was complaining he'd only sold 30 or 40,000 copies. Right?
wow.
Yeah, that's what I said. Wow. You know, and so he went to a company and worked out a publishing deal. And of course, they they printed it as a new book under a new name,
Ah,
but there was no, what he should have done was kept his book going himself. He should have
mhm.
kept it, or incorporated into his son. He like literally stopped everything because he'd been
Okay.
doing, like lectures and stuff. And he stopped everything, and then when the other thing didn't work out, once again, he couldn't go backwards.
Couldn't
He
go back.
couldn't go
You know
back.
what? To finish what you asked me something like, how did I get back to TV? Right. So I
Yeah.
started. So to be honest with you, I've always been a good listener,
Uh-huh.
and I like hearing people's stories.
Yes.
And people have a tendency to open up to me and share stuff that they've never shared with anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because I really am engaged and I really am listening, honestly listening and honestly wanting to hear what they have to say.
Mm.
I think that's a gift God has given me. So I
Mhm.
really believe He put me on the path of sharing people's stories.
Yes.
So not just their life stories, which I do on Sunny J Live, but
Mhm.
also giving them a voice to share their stories as far as TV stories, as far as movies, still sharing their voice. And
Mhm.
I believe that God brought me all the way back around saying, this was your
Mhm.
purpose. This is where you were supposed to be. This is your lane. And
Right.
I'm
Right.
back and I'm
Yeah.
happy. And I believe that, that God is opening doors
Mm.
and making a way for this thing to just really take off and giving me the strategies that I need, giving me the people that I need, giving me the lessons that I need to learn. Such
Right. Right.
as
Right.
this,
Yeah.
get a chance to talk with you.
Yes. It's so refreshing to really talk to a person. Being a producer and a creator, so many times we let ourselves get put in a box, you know, of other people's expectations and other people's limitations. And I love when you said that if I didn't know it, I knew how to do it and get it and do it myself. And that's a profound thing with any creator to learn how to do it yourself. You know, I think about Tyler Perry. Tyler could design the sets, put them up, build them, write the script, make the costumes.
And you need to do that because,
Yeah.
initially you got to keep your budget down.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, like
Yes.
with our show, I direct, I write the script,
Mm-hmm.
I actually film. I'm one of the
Mm-hmm.
videographers. I do
Mm-hmm.
the editing, I do the marketing, I did the casting, and the wonderful thing, I truly, truly believe in giving people opportunities.
Yes.
And people kind of balk at me on this sometimes. And, I'll be in a room with people. I say, I could use everybody in this room for this show. And they're like, you can't have everybody. I'm like, why? Why not?
Yes.
So this
Yes.
is what the world looks like. They look like these
Yes.
people right here. There's
Yes.
no one look for people. They look like people, you
Yes.
know? And so when we did the casting, I really didn't do a casting. We started filming. And my friend said, well, we should probably put something out. So she put something on her Facebook that we were looking for some cast for the show. She picked up two of her friends
Uh-huh.
that she knew, and they came out. And one of them brought her ex-husband because I told her I needed a male,
Uh-huh.
and he came. And then the rest of the people, one worked with a couple people, and he mentioned it to them, and they came. And then I met a couple people out. Two people I met at lunch one day, and we just started talking. I said, "Have you ever wanted to act?"
Uh-huh.
I said,
Yeah.
"Show up Sunday at this time. This is where I'm going to
Yeah.
be."
Yeah.
And so I gave people the opportunity that never acted but wanted to.
Yes.
Maybe I got rappers on the show, I got models, I've got singers. I met a record label actually at the Urban Film Festival, and we got to
Uh-huh.
talking. One of the guys looks like Bobby Brown. I said, "Did anybody ever tell you that?" He said, "No." I said, "That's because they're much younger." I said,
Yes.
"You look like Bobby Brown for real." And
Yeah.
we developed a friendship right there that day while at in line to meet Damon Dash or something. Actually, I
Uh-huh.
missed the opportunity to take a picture because I was so busy talking to them.
Uh-huh.
Um, but we developed a friendship that day. The whole record label came out. They have a huge following. They came out the next Sunday. They invited me to be on one of their projects. They got a movie that they're going to be working on, and they've got a part for me on that.
Uh-huh.
But I just believe him. And then what we did, and people thought this was crazy too. I did a cast party at the end
Mm.
because when we filmed this show, a lot of people came one time. They did like a cameo.
Yes.
James Watkins, who is T-Boz from TLC,
Yes.
we're working on another project, and I asked
Yeah.
him, "Come
Yeah.
through on Sunday. We're filming." So he came through and did a cameo on the show.
Yes.
So a lot of the people only were there one time, so they didn't know the whole cast, right? And I
Right.
said it's important that everybody needs to know each other, so that when they watch it on TV, they're not watching strangers. Like, "Oh yeah, I met them." I
Yeah.
think we're a family. So
Yes.
it was because my cast grew to 37 by the time we finished. It was
Yes.
37 people.
Wow.
And so I did a catered dinner at a black-owned restaurant downtown Orlando,
Uh-huh.
and everybody came together. I actually had a theme song made for the show, and how that came about. My opportunities. We went through three people. I said, you know what? I need a theme song for the show, right?
Uh-huh.
I said I want to give somebody the opportunity to have their music on a TV show.
Mm.
I can go online and find something, but I want
Uh-huh.
to give somebody that opportunity. So we went through actually three people, and they all blew it. Like
Wow.
didn't come through with the music,
Uh-huh.
didn't own the beat, wanted a whole bunch of money, just crazy stuff. We met this couple at a party that was given by 94.5. It was an all white party, right?
Uh-huh.
I went because I wanted to meet Glenn Jones,
Uh-huh.
and I had met his manager, and they were supposed to set up a interview for me for the show, for my show. So anyway, we go to the event, beautiful event. Glenn Jones, I like Glenn Jones, did all white, but I wasn't coming. They had a contest, best dressed, right? Was
Mhm.
not coming to win. That was the least, and I love the dress, but I wasn't coming to win. I was coming for a purpose, right?
Mhm.
Wind up getting into the best dress contest and came in second. And I did, like I said, I didn't come to win. Came in
Uh-huh.
second and got a chance to meet Glenn Jones anyway. And met the couple that when I saw them, I said they came to win. They're going to be number one. But you could tell they came to win.
Yes.
So they did win. And we
Yes.
got a chance to talk to them. And they would not be somebody necessarily I would have just went to talk to, right?
Right.
Um, because we were both in the back and we won and we were able to talk, he winds up being a music producer. And we
Wow.
said, hey, we got a show. How about writing
Yeah.
a theme song? Did they not come through? Yes,
Wow.
they did. And they
Wow.
have the theme song on our
That is,
show.
yeah.
And we have developed such a friendship with the entire cast. It's like a
Yes.
family. We had such a blast. We played the first episode, we played the theme song. Everybody got up, was dancing to the song. I mean, it was just amazing. Absolutely. And everybody's waiting for season two, but even though season one hasn't finished airing,
Yeah.
this Thursday is episode 7. So we actually
Uh-huh.
have 11 episodes of this season. And then we're going to start filming season 2 starting next Sunday.
Wow. Sonny, that's really inspirational because people have ideas, and it's great to know that somebody was able to say, like, you know what? There are no obstacles. Any obstacle becomes an opportunity. Wow.
Absolutely. And maybe, you might can't go straight. Maybe you got to turn the corner.
Yeah. Now, it seems you seem to have such a a, a path, a clear path. Did you ever get distractions? Because I mean, with all the stuff you do now, are you married? Do you have kids?
I'm not married now. I do
Uh-huh.
have kids. My kids are grown, so I have grandkids, and I actually have twin great grandsons, which is a blessing because I thank God that I'm still here, and I pray that I see another generation to come from them down the road
Yes.
somewhere.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
definitely, it's easy to get distracted because I think I have so many diverse interests, right?
Mm,
And I truly believe in helping other people. So when people come to me with their projects, I'm one of those people like, okay, I'll help
mhm,
you, sure.
mhm.
And so I can get very distracted because of that.
Yeah.
But I think now my path is a lot clearer where I'm going,
Yes.
and my timeline when I want to get there and what I want to accomplish,
Yes.
that I'm now able to minimize the distractions that if they don't play into this path, then I have only a little time that I can help, you
Right.
know? So,
Okay.
but because of this, even with the cast party, I ran across a promoter that I hadn't seen probably in 15 years. He happened to come through the restaurant that we were having our cast party at.
Uh-huh.
We reconnected. He is working on a new TV show that I'm helping him with. So we're going to do some of his filming and his editing and for that. And then the owner of the restaurant is working on a movie. He didn't know me. We had done a book signing there before, but he had no idea really who I was, other than we scheduled this. He was so impressed with the cast, the people that were there, the energy that we had. He invited me to meet with him about a movie he's working on. So doors are just opening. People are just it's God is just opening some amazing doors. But what I did tell people, and this is one thing I would say, you have to be intentional, right? With whatever you
Mhm.
do. So what I told the people at the cast, I said, let me tell you something. Don't ever say you did this for free. You
Mm.
didn't. You
Yeah.
did this for you. And it
Yeah.
shouldn't have been free. I said, because you met movie producers, you met
Uh-huh.
other people that have other shows, you now have met some other music producers. I said, so if you didn't make connections that work for you, then that's on you. I said, because I never limit people from building relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So you should have made some connections out of this, right? So out of that, two of the people that were also performers now got added to the soundtrack for the show. They got some
Mm-hmm.
verses in there. The movie producers are now going to use some of the cast members for some of their movies and things like that. So I told them a lesson. You don't do things for free. Do it with intention.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you met people you would have never met, and
Mm-hmm.
make those connections work for you.
Mm.
I said, so don't say you did it for free, because if you did it for to get your name as a credit that you can use going forward on a TV project or whatever, then it wasn't free.
Right. Right.
You didn't do it for free. You got something out of it. You should
Yeah.
get something out of it,
Yes.
right? You got
Yes.
experience out of it. You should have got some knowledge out of it. And the thing is, because most of these people didn't know me,
Yes.
so they met me on the set
Okay. Yeah.
and they saw me work. And I'm one of those people. I tell people all the time, the number one thing, you just got to show up. I
Mm.
don't care how good you are, but if you don't
Yes.
show up, you can't be used.
You can't be
So they
used.
said, what I got to do? Show up,
Show up. Right.
show up. And one of the girls who actually wind up becoming one of the leads, Janira, she wasn't going to be a lead. She had a different part, right? So I had sent her a script. She knew her whole script. I come to find out she was going through so much in her life. She said on her way, she stopped in the bathroom and cried, washed her face, walked in the room with a smile on her face. And then when she got there, I said, oh, by the way, forget that script. You're going to be somebody else. And she said, I was petrified. She said, I had learned that script. She
Uh-huh.
said, but then you told me this is who you're going to be, and this
Yeah.
is what it's going to be, and this is the scene we're going to shoot. And I make it so simple
Yeah.
um that she was able to do that because she showed up, she became a
Yeah.
lead.
She should. And that's something. Showing up is
So,
95% of the deal. Yeah.
absolutely, show
Right.
up.
Yeah. Well, Sonny, this has been incredible. I mean, you just open up and radiate and just like a light. You know, because you've had such great experience. I love to ask a couple questions. One, what advice would you give your younger self when you were starting out as a paralegal and doing working in corporate America? Looking back now, what advice would you give your younger self?
Wow. Ooh, focus, stay focused.
Uh-huh.
Because I know I got sidetracked a number of times.
Uh-huh.
Find your purpose.
Uh-huh.
The sooner you can find that, the quicker you can get so much further in the game. But you know, one thing I look back at, I got into education, right?
Uh-huh.
I got into education while I was waiting for the TV show to launch in Europe.
Uh-huh.
So it was just, I'm going to take this job
Uh-huh.
and for a short period of time. I was very good at it, and they kept offering me, you know, um, more and more responsibilities. And I kept saying, no, I'm not interested. No,
Yeah.
I'm not interested because I wasn't planning on staying.
Yeah.
But I wind up being in that field 20 years.
Wow.
And because I kept coming back to when anything else didn't work, when I opened my store and that was the right at recession, and then I closed my store and then I went back to it because I was good and I left really on good terms, made some wonderful relationships. So that when I leave, they kept calling me and say, "You sure you don't want to come back? You sure?" Matter
Yeah.
of fact, to this day, I have somebody still calling me. I'm like, "No, I'm never coming
Yeah.
back."
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but had I seen that as an opportunity, I probably should have taken the opportunity anyway
Mm-hmm.
because I could definitely have excelled in it, but what scared me so much was that it would take so much of my time,
Ah,
and I wasn't willing to give up my dreams
I
for
got you.
them,
Yeah.
and that was the thing, but, maybe I could have found a way to work. I don't know, I look back at that, and that's the one thing I kind of say, "You know what? You probably should have taken the opportunity, um, and tried it,"
Yeah.
but other than that, that's the only thing I look back at and say, "Hmm,
Yeah. Wow.
could have
But
been a
that's
missed
powerful.
opportunity."
Stay focused and find your purpose. Because until you find your purpose, you just shadow dancing.
Absolutely,
Yeah. Wow.
absolutely.
But also another nugget you just dropped on us. Leave whatever the position you're in, whatever situation, leave it on good terms.
Absolutely.
Leave
And
it.
it's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah,
Hmm.
because I left because I really didn't like the director. I really truly just I couldn't handle her, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't like her and had made complaints, but I'm not that person.
Yeah.
And even the president called me. It's like, I was like one of their top people. I had just got celebrated, all this kind of stuff. And they're like, "Why are you leaving?" I said,
Uh,
"Well, I just think it was time."
yeah.
And they really wanted me to say why. And I'm like, that's not me. I'm
Yeah.
not going, this is your business. You figure out why.
Yeah.
And if you're going to fire somebody, it's not going to be because I said that you should fire
Yeah.
them. That's
Yeah.
not who I am. But
Wow.
and because of that, because that's the case, I want to come back.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
in education, it's a small world. How about she
Yeah.
winds up being in another company I want to go to? So you can't
Yeah.
burn bridges. It wasn't
Uh,
like, she had done anything personal to me. I just didn't like her leadership style.
yeah.
And I had the opportunity that I could leave. So
Yeah.
like you said, leave on
Yeah.
good terms. Always
Leave on
leave on
good
good
terms.
terms
Well,
because you just
when
never know.
you were saying that, I thought of a saying my mother used to say, if you'll bring a bone, you'll carry a bone. And what she meant was, if you talk about somebody else
Hmm.
to a third party, that third party knows that one day you may be talking about them to a
Yeah, so
fourth party.
I've just
Yeah.
never been that person,
Wow.
to do
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
don't, no, no.
Yeah. Now you look down, you were saying you're looking forward to another generation of kids and a whole, yeah, I think you and I are on the same path. I have grandkids and great grandkids, and you know, I- sooner or later I'll have another level.
Right.
If it, if you look down the road, maybe 20, 25 years,
Hmm.
what advice would you give your present self? If you could project yourself 25, 30 years down the line, what
Going
advice
forward
would you, yeah,
or
what
backward?
advice would you give No, you go forward
Okay.
25 or 30 years. What
Mhm.
advice would you give yourself now from that perspective?
I would say make sure your relationships with your family are strong. They
Ooh,
understand your values,
yes,
that they have memories that'll last a lifetime. My thing is my legacy that I'm building right now is I want to have that huge picture above the fireplace that they can look at and celebrate and say, she did this. She
yes,
started this. She
yes,
left it for us.
yes.
And that they remember my birthday and celebrate me every year.
Wow, that's beautiful. I can see that fireplace now. And you know what? You know what, Sonny? Kids amazing. You know, Sandra was in the State House of Representatives, and our
Mhm.
grandchildren, when they went down there with the class, what do you call it, the class trip, they
Uh-huh.
went up and they said, "That's my grandmother right there," and that was like stock in the bank. Yeah,
Absolutely. I want
yeah,
the fireplace with all the trophies because I'm putting it in the atmosphere. I want a trophy for the best director. I want a
uh-huh.
trophy for one of the best movies. I want a trophy for the best TV series. And I don't care. Don't it could be from all these because there's so many film festivals, right?
Yeah,
And I was looking at timelines right now. Like I want to I'm committed to getting something in the festivals this year.
yes,
Um, and so I was looking at timelines the other day. Like you said, one thing you mentioned about living by a calendar.
uh-huh, yes, yes,
I believe, and I keep a planner and I keep my calendar. And if you don't write down what you're really working toward, what your
yeah,
visions are, it's
yes,
easy to get lost. And you look like, oh man, I meant to do that, but the deadline
yes,
is past. You
yes,
got to keep your
yes,
focus.
yes. Now, so you got your copy of the book, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on the book? Impressions as you looked at the book?
A number of things, right? So
Uh-huh,
looking at the phases in life, I think
uh-huh,
I'm now at 3 and 4 combined.
uh-huh. Yeah,
And I think that's why I'm working so furiously and hard,
yeah,
but the other one that sticks with me and I say all the time, because I used to be, and I say used to be a procrastinator, like I'll do that tomorrow. But
yes.
the one thing, and I say this all the time, and I think of you all the time when I say this, do it now.
Now,
Do it now. And I live by that I don't care what it is. I don't care. It's like, well, I can go to bank tomorrow. Nope, do it
now.
now. I can go to
Yes,
nope, do it now. And so that for whatever reason, that has made such a huge impression on me. And I think every time I say that, I think of you. Do it.
yes, now. Well, thank you, Sonny. It puts you in the rhythm that's automatically there. Life has a rhythm. And anytime we procrastinate, we choose to get out of rhythm with life. And if we just stay in the rhythm of life, we'll always be in the right place at the right time, doing the right things. So, wow.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
I tell you, you are a truly phenomenal person. Any final words you love to leave our audience? Because you've given so many nuggets. They're gonna need to have a notebook and really abstract some of the great thoughts you've shared and see in this whole interview, see a person who followed her dreams. That you started out, as you say, you were a good listener. Okay. You like people, you understood
Mhm.
relationships, and you found your purpose. And then you said, I'm all in.
All in.
All in. So any final remarks, final thoughts for our audience?
Well, I think that whatever your passion is, because
Uh-huh.
everybody's not going to see your vision.
Uh-huh.
Everybody, because even to this day, people still don't, everybody see my vision. And sometimes it's the people closest to you don't see
Yeah.
your vision, right?
Mm.
Um, but you got to believe in your vision. You have
Yeah.
to know, but that you got to know what and you got to be 100% committed. You can't be 50% committed. You got to be 100% committed no matter what they say. Because what I hear today is people will say to me, well, you should pitch your show to such and such a network.
Uh-huh.
And I say to them, that builds their network. But I have a
Yeah.
network. Why would I do
Uh-huh.
that?
Uh-huh.
That
Yeah.
makes no sense. And
Yeah.
and furthermore, pitching takes time.
Yes.
I know somebody's been pitching a show for almost a year. I said in that year she could have already could have already had it out there. So
Yeah.
whatever your
Yeah.
vision is, know it's your vision and don't listen to the naysayers, block them out, hear them and don't hear them. And sometimes, you don't have to argue the point. If you know what you know.
Hmm.
And I think what you do is you show them.
Yes.
Show them.
Wow. Wow. Well, Sunday, I love that. You don't have to argue the point. You don't have to convince anybody of anything. It's your dream, and you go for it.
That's it.
Well, Sunny J, I have enjoyed this interview. I have enjoyed your energy, your insight, and I mean, you can feel your commitment to your dream, and you know that it's manifesting each and every step of the way. And I'm just
Absolutely.
honored to be a part of it. And thank you so much for being on Success Talk and sharing your wisdom.
So one last thing, I just have to tell everybody, make sure you watch our network. It's GLS TV Plus on Roku and on Amazon Fire Stick. And if you don't have a device, you can watch everything on our website,
Yes.
glstvplus.com.
Wow. Let's say that one more time. GLS.
GLS TV Plus, spell it out, plus.com.
Wow. Well, I think all of you listening, all of our listeners, that's another network. And you know, the internet has given people such an opportunity to have their own TV network. You know,
Absolutely.
when I was starting out, that wasn't possible. You had to get on somebody else's network.
Absolutely.
And so you have your own network. And just say it one more time. I just love the way it sounds. Uh-huh.
GLS TV Plus. That's the name of the channel. And then you can
Uh-huh.
go to our website, same thing, glstvplus.com, and watch the TV show Rain. Now, we actually, the TV is linear, so they come on at certain times. Right now, Rain comes on every Thursday at 8:30. But you can watch, we also have video on demand, so you can catch up. And we've got
Yes.
lots of talk shows. We've got everything from survivors of serial killers to survivors of Katrina. You need some inspiration, we got it. And if you need laughter, we got that too.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Sunny J, and your great network. Our listeners appreciate it, our viewers appreciate it, and always remember that the best is yet to come.
And I believe that. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, this has been an incredible interview. And I implore you to watch it time and time again because every time you see it, you're going to hear something different. You're going to hear another nugget that you didn't hear before. In this interview is a lot of wisdom for anybody who's had a dream and may even get distracted, may even get discouraged. But if you listen and hear the energy and the wisdom of Sunny J, you'll be on your way.